Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This is Chad Jordan. I'm the VP of Brands at SOCi, which is a marketing platform that helps companies with social media, reviews, their online listings, social media ads, all that fun stuff. Today, I actually want to put on a different hat, which if you're watching on the webcam, you can see is a hat that I've got from California Fresh, which was a restaurant I used to have. We'll talk about that in a second. And just want to clarify, I'm obviously watching what's happening with COVID-19 and seeing how that's not just wrecking families and health and all the safety concerns there, but also the economy and the damage it's doing there, in particular to the restaurant and hospitality industry. And I'm passionate about helping restaurants and doing whatever we can to pull them through this time. So that's what this webinar is all about today. So for the hopefully about the next hour, we might not go that long, but I want to lay out 10 suggestions for restaurants during this time to really help get them through this social distancing phase that we're in and help set them up for what's to come down the road. So I'm going to lay out a plan. I'm going to give a checklist, do some other fun stuff. But without further ado, I want to again just kind of explain why I'm passionate about this and why this matters so much to me. And it's because about 10 years ago, my wife and I, we had a couple restaurants, and those were our kids back then. You can imagine how big they've gotten since. It was a sandwich and smoothie restaurant, and it didn't last much past 2010. We kept it for about 6 or 7 years, and decided at that point to move on. But I love the restaurant industry. Still have very fond memories of it and my employees and my customers. And so here, fast forward to 2020, and I'm helping lead this brand division of a social media company. It's just amazing what can happen in a decade. So for all you restaurant owners out there who might be struggling right now and wondering what's to come, or what if the worst case scenario happens, I just want to give you a glimpse of hope that we don't know what's around the corner, but we know there's still good days ahead, no matter what comes your way. So here are some lessons that I'm going to be sharing with you today. Some I learned while I was in the food business. Some I've obviously learned in 10 years of digital marketing since then. But I hope that you can apply them and really have a successful turnaround and recovery once this COVID-19 scare is in our rearview mirror. So let me just go here. What are you most anxious about? I didn't set the poll up, so I'm gonna just go right to kind of the legal mumbo jumbo, as it says here. I am not a lawyer. I can't tell you what to do. I'm obviously not affiliated with your restaurant. These are all suggestions, and I don't want you just to take them with a grain of salt, because I do want you to implement some of this stuff. But I want to make sure that if there's something that has some applications to you that could be long ranging, I want to make sure you you run it by a lawyer. So just putting that out there to cover ourselves. I want to give you a quick rundown of what today's webinar really is all about. We're calling them the three I's, and I'll explain what that means. And I'm going to give you 10 action items, to a plan to put together. This is for most of the restaurant owners that I've met don't have time to do anything online. They are busy in their restaurant with their employees, delivering, working on their facilities, fixing the pipes when the pipes break. And that's what most restaurant owners, especially local restaurant owners, if you're not part of a big chain, that's most of what you're doing. You really don't have a lot of time and energy, or maybe even experience, to think about what's going on digitally. Yet that's where consumers are finding out about you more often than not. It's not through traditional means necessarily, TV, radio, print. It's really on a computer and on their phone, right? That's where people are finding you nowadays. And if you're not set up for success digitally, customers are going to have a hard time finding you. And in a crisis like this, it will really come back to bite you. So I want to lay out for those that don't have any experience or background or have had no time to do anything online, I want to give you some options. There will be some of you that are all over this. Maybe you have a college-aged kid that's been helping you, a son or a daughter, or you yourself came out of a tech background, so you know to do all these things. Then I hope we can just discuss a couple options and some suggestions that will get you thinking and going in the right direction. I want to get the ball rolling for you. So we'll look at that. There's something I'm calling the digital marketing checklist, especially if you're deemed an essential business. If you're a restaurant and you're open right now, there's some areas that I want you to look at. I'm going to give you some resources. I'm not sure I'll necessarily have time for question and answer period, but if there are any, I'll field them at that time. So the thing that I really want you to take away from this COVID-19 crisis and this period that we're in right now is looking at ways to improve. And I say that, you probably heard that saying that there's no I in team. And that's true, because I think there's 3 I's in team. And what I mean by that are every successful team and every successful teammate has to learn along the way to becoming a champion, has to learn to be indispensable, irresistible, and influential. And that's where your restaurant is right now. And that's where if you own a restaurant, that's the area that you really need to be, the areas that you really need to be focused on. How is my restaurant indispensable? And you might think, maybe it isn't. Maybe my restaurant, maybe people can live without me. But you need to rewire your thinking. If you're in business, you need to approach it like you're the best thing that's ever happened to the industry, and you need to project that, and you need to convince the consumers that you are indispensable. Another word for indispensable would be essential, or maybe irreplaceable, unreplaceable. We can't get rid of you if we tried. All right, show us that through this COVID-19 crisis, why you are so indispensable. Irresistible is essentially means you consume our thoughts and our passions as consumers. We wouldn't reject you for anything in the world. We would pick you over everybody else. You're soft, you're cuddly, you're adorable. That is what irresistible is to us. So is your company, is your business, is your restaurant projecting that? Have you built a loyal following? Are you engaging with your customers, not just in the restaurant, but when they go and leave you a review, for instance, online? And by the way, they're doing that all the time. So we're going to talk about ways to be irresistible today. And then lastly, influential. You have to be influential. In other words, to convince customers to even come into your facility, you have to be able to influence them. To be on a winning team, you have to have a captain. You have to have a coach that's influential. We've probably all seen sport teams that don't listen to a coach and they just roll their eyes when the coach speaks. Guess what? That's never a winning team. Winning teams have an influential coach. And that's what you have to be for your restaurant and for your community right now. You have to be influential. And really a great way to do that is through social media. So the 3 areas we're going to focus on today: for indispensable, we're going to look at your online listings, and I'll explain that. Irresistible, we're going to be looking at your online reviews. I'll walk through that. Influential, we're going to be looking at social media and your social media activities. Those are the 3 areas that for you to be a winner and for you to win throughout this COVID-19 crisis, you really have to perfect. So I'm gonna talk through that today. So here's basically launching into that, knowing that you need to be indispensable, irresistible, and influential. What are the 10 things you can do right now to improve, to innovate, to get better, and survive? I mean, I know that's where a lot of restaurants are right now. We've seen, most of you have seen 50 to 80% reduction in sales and staffing, all that while your rent and lights and food costs and all that kind of stuff is pretty much consistent. So what can you do right now to kind of turn the tide and to stop the bleeding, especially with some online activities? So here are the 10 things I'm going to suggest. Again, some of you have already done some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about. I'm from what I've seen, by the way, those of you that don't know, I've created a Facebook group for the community here where I live, and we now have about 350 restaurants that have been added to that list. And I've gone to every single restaurant's either website or Facebook page or Google listing, and I've kind of researched them to add them to the list. And I'd say about 90% of them are really weak in these categories. And again, this is a no judgment zone, because I get it. I used to be in restaurants. I know the demands, the 7 days a week, the 24 hours a day. There's just not a lot of energy or time to put into this online stuff. Well, guess what? COVID-19 is giving us all a lot of time at home, time with our loved ones as consumers. So we now need to see your online presence in order to trust and come in and shop and buy from your restaurant. So somebody on your either on your staff or at your house needs to do what I'm going to suggest here. Again, 90% of you haven't done any of this, and those of you that have done some, hopefully we uncover ways that you can do it even better. Okay, so the very first thing you need to do is go claim your Google listing. All right, Google is the most important search engine. Everybody knows about Google. I don't care, even if you don't feel like you're very computer proficient, or you know you don't have social media accounts yourself or anything like that. You know what Google is, and you know how important it is. I'm not going to show you a bunch of statistics in today's webinar, but whether you realize it or not, people are looking for you through Google. They're typing in, let's say you're a burger place, they're typing in burgers near me. And the way that you rank, the way that you would show up when people search that, it's not like a genie rubbing a bottle and or somebody Aladdin rubbing a bottle and having a genie pop out. It's not a magic lamp. There's actually a process that Google goes through when people type in burgers near me to show which options are the best. And they use stuff like this. This is the number one thing. They'll use a Google listing. So have you created a page on Google? This is not a website. I'm not talking, most of you have websites. I'm not talking about a website. I'm talking about a specific thing called a Google listing. If you've claimed it already, then that's great. I show you here what you need to do to to go claim it if one's already been created. And you can just go search for that. If you've claimed it, we'll talk more about what you can do with your Google listing, but this is the very first thing. Go see if there's been one that's been created. For instance, I'm showing a screenshot here of one, a customer probably created this at some point, and it's not been claimed by the owner. So that this little pop-up shows up saying own this business, and if you do, if that is your business, then you can go through the process to claim it, and Google will do some things for you to help you verify that. All right, so that's the very first thing. Go search, go on Google right now and type, in fact, you can do this while the webinar is going on. Go on Google and type in your restaurant name and see if anything comes up. And if you didn't create that listing, you need to go own it. You need to go claim it. All right, so that's the first thing. If you type in your restaurant name and nothing comes up, okay, that's fine. You just need to go create one yourself. And I by the way, you'll get a copy of this entire presentation when we're done here, but you can go to business.google.com and go through the process of setting them up. I will say it will help if you have a Gmail account. So if you do not yet have one, go register. And I believe, if I remember right, through the process, you'll be able to add a Gmail account as well. But you're going to want to go through this entire process. This is the number. The reason I have this number one is because this is the first thing you should do. This is the most important thing you can do if it's not yet been done. So your Google listing, is the highest priority of everything I give you today. Now, if you already have one, again, I'm going to walk you through some things that you can do to enhance it, but you're going to want to make sure that you go claim it or create one. Okay, so that's the very first thing. And yeah, I see that question. If you need help, if you try to go through the process and you can't figure it out, just reach out to me and I'll get you pointed in the right direction. By the way, at the end of this, I will say at the end of this, I have resources available that when you get a copy of this presentation, you can click on and it'll go and walk you through some of this stuff. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing is Google. The next thing is Yelp. Yelp, I call it a 4-letter word because Yelp can be very tricky to try to manage, especially if you get a negative review. But Yelp is a really the #1 reviews engine, at least the oldest and most well known. It's all that they do essentially. It's what they're known for. Whereas Google really has more reviews. Google and Facebook, or Facebook, their reviews are called recommendations. But Yelp is kind of the most, it's synonymous with the word review. So you need a Yelp listing, just like you needed a Google listing. Here's the #2 priority today. You need a Yelp listing. And guess what? You're probably on Yelp somewhere. Somebody at some point has added you, like this restaurant I'm showing here. Somebody added them. And it wasn't the restaurant owner because you can see there it's unclaimed. So you need to go into to Yelp and go search to see if your restaurant's claimed or not. Has it been created? Excuse me, created or not? And if it has been created, go claim one. And you can go to I show there biz.yelp.com. All you got to do is get started. They'll have a verification process as well. The thing I want to point out, once you claim and create your listing and you walk through that process, look at the #5 point that I put here. Create check-in offer. This is probably the most important thing you can do on Yelp right now, especially through the COVID-19 crisis. And you're saying, well, people aren't going to check into my location. What does that even mean, check in? They're not going to come in and eat right now. No, they're not, but it's going to show up when they come to, let's say, pick up their food, or even if they come and you deliver to them, they can still check in. By checking in on Yelp, it creates the opportunity for them to leave a review without you having to ask for it. Yelp does not like people asking for reviews, restaurants asking for reviews, because they think we're only going to ask clients that are going to give us 5 stars, for instance. So the way around that is create a check-in offer that incentivizes somebody to quote unquote check in. Let's say it's a free beverage with purchase, something like that can be your check-in offer. Well, when they do it, when they use it, the customer uses it, they'll be prompted to write a review, and they'll be more likely to write a good review if you gave them good service and some sort of freebie. So this is a bonus tip: create a check-in offer when you build your page. Now, if you haven't yet, if there's not an unclaimed page out there, you need to create a new listing. Here, I walk you through the process as well. I'm not going to, on the live webinar, go step by step, but I put it in here on what you're supposed to do. And again, finish up with a check-in offer. All right. We'll dive into Yelp. You're going to hear us talk a lot about Google and Yelp today. This is not the the only time I'm going to be saying it, but I just want you to make sure you either claim or create a new Yelp listing. Do I need to do this? I see a question. Do I need to do this on the phone? No, you can use Yelp. There will be one option I shared today that you need to use a phone. Yelp, you can do from a desktop. So, all right, thanks for that. And the reason, here's a bonus reason on why you want to go ahead and create a Yelp page now. Because if you create one and it gets verified, you can have a donate now button for the COVID-19 crisis added to your account there, especially if you have 5 locations or less, which most mom and pop restaurant owners, that's the case. Yelp has partnered with GoFundMe to provide donations where customers can just go. They understand that times are tough, or that your waiters, for instance, and waitresses aren't working, or your cooks are, you don't have as many staff right now, and you want to set up a fund to give to them, or for you to be able to keep your lights on, customers can go donate now, and it'll go into a fund that will be distributed to your restaurant, because if you had the donate now button. So anyways, that's just a bonus. Once you get your page, this is incentive, more incentive for you to go ahead and do this right away. That's why I put that in there. Okay, number 3, and I'm pretty sure at this point everybody has a Facebook page. So notice I didn't say go build or claim whatever a Facebook page. I'm going to assume, and especially from the research that I've done, the investigations that I've done with my Facebook group and the 350 restaurants in there, every single one of them has had a Facebook page of some variety. So, but here's the challenge. Most of them are pretty rough and raw, rough around the edges. So right now, if I were you, I'd go check the basics about my Facebook page. I'd make sure the about information is correct. Is the website in there and linked? You can see here in the about section. I took a screenshot of a restaurant here near me, and they do have their restaurant. You see the categories. It says Italian restaurant, European, American restaurant. So you can go list, is that still accurate? Is all that information filled out? That'd be the very first thing I would do. Next, I would go create, especially during the COVID-19 crisis, specialty photo albums. So go take pictures, good quality pictures as good as you can, and go create a photo album showing the options for all your takeout items right now, or your curbside pickup, or are you doing delivery but on select items? Then show that. Have a photo album, just focused on that portion of your menu, so that then you could do posts and do other things later where you show off that menu and you highlight, maybe even, let's say you're doing delivery and you want your Mondays to be marinara Mondays, and Tuesdays are your Taco Tuesdays, and Wednesdays are your Wacky Wednesday, where they get to create their own, I don't know, just create specialty stuff that you can share out and have a dedicated photo album. Really get a robust photo album throughout this. Update your cover photo and profile picture. This is a little bit of me suggesting how you game the system, the algorithm that Facebook has for you to get more likes and more engagement. Go refresh your cover photo and your profile picture, not at the same time, but at least once a month. Maybe every 2 weeks you do the cover photo, and then 2 weeks later the profile picture, then 2 weeks later the cover photo. And here's why. Just add either a new angle or a new section of your restaurant or your staff or you in front of your restaurant, whatever. But every time you add that, it'll kick it out to the Facebook community as an option for people to like. And most people, if they liked the previous one, will like this one as well. And every time they like it, all their friends and family members, all those people on Facebook that they know, they go and they have an option to see it and then like it. And once that do, it kind of builds a snowball rolling downhill effect for you to get more likes and engagement and people coming to your page. So that's the same thing. That's why I say on the second bullet point, updated images get new engagement. So what I mean by that is every time you add a new cover photo, it's giving Facebook community an opportunity to like you again. And they're not going to go like your old cover photo that's been there for 3 years. No one's liking that. No one's engaging with that. So give us as customers a new option. Here's a really great idea for you right now. Next time you go home, which is probably seems like forever, you've been working so hard during COVID-19, but when you go to work, I know you, and I know when I had my restaurant, I went the same route every single time, okay? Try to take a different route, and along your route, hit get directions from your Facebook page. And then use that get directions feature to navigate to your restaurant, because Facebook has put a pin marker where they think your restaurant is based on your address. So you want to see if that get directions pin marker is truly accurate, and if it takes you to where your restaurant, maybe it'll take you to a different part of your parking lot where your restaurant can't be seen, or maybe it'll take you to a competitor and that's where Facebook thought you were located, God forbid. So just this is a good practice. I would do this on Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze. I would punch in my restaurant's name and then hit get directions. Just do a different one every day and see if it really takes you to the right one. And I see a question here about directions and what do I do if it's wrong? Well, that's a good point. If it's wrong, you should be able to go into the edit section of the About Us and drag and drop the pin marker. So that's the thing. I'm not going to show it here because I'm using a static deck, but you should be able to see where that pin marker is, that little balloon. You can hit edit and then drag and drop that right to the spot where you want people to go. It's a good question though. The last point I make here is super important. Okay, 350 restaurants, every single one in my Facebook community group that I set up, every single one has a Facebook page, but I'm seeing at least 20% of them. So what is that? 50 to 60 have a person as their Facebook page. It's not set up as a business. That when they set it up as a person. And back in the day, a lot of restaurants did this so that they could quote unquote add friends and friend request and all that kind of stuff. But since then, Facebook has made it a lot more convenient for people to like a page, a business page, instead of a person. And there's a ton of tools that you can leverage if you have the Facebook page set up as a business and as a restaurant. There's even a category for food and restaurants. So you'll be able to pick that. But as a person, as a quote unquote friend, you're going to be so limited. It's going to drive your customers crazy. So if that's you, I'm sorry, this is going to be painful to hear. Go in and set up a business page for your restaurant and get your quote unquote friends from your old page I see that question. Yeah. So what you're going to do is you're going to go on your old person page and you're going to set it up and you're going to tell everybody, hey, we've set up a new Facebook business page for my restaurant. Go like it. And you're going to share that from your old one, your person one, your quote unquote. And then eventually you're going to want to get rid of that one once you move everybody over and get everybody to go like it. But trust me, you will not regret it. So far we've done Google, Yelp, and Facebook. Next, here's this is the up and coming challenger to the throne on social media, especially for restaurants. Instagram is very important because there's no texts. In Facebook, you can just type a text, a verbiage message, and people can see it. In Instagram, it's all photos or videos. All right. So it's very conducive to restaurants because look at the example I shown here called Three Fat Guys Diner. It's showing great food pictures and what is that, a Bloody Mary, and it's got all these great, and then a dog eating a slice of pizza or something. I mean, it's really visual. Instagram is great at that. So this is the one earlier you had asked about whether this could be done on a phone or computer or whatever. Here's one you have to do. You have to set this up. If you don't have an Instagram page, you have to set it up on a phone. I know it's annoying, but just if you don't have Instagram, again, get your kid or a college student around here, help them with you, get this set up, download the app, create your account. And when you go to create it, you're going to want to connect it to your Facebook account. And you're going to go through and look at the profile that's set up here. You have the name, you have the logo. Look over here on the right. You got the website, the address. There's going to even be you can run promotions. If you set this up as a business page, you can run promotions. There's other tools that you can do. You need to make sure when you go to the setup process, you set it up as a business page. Again, because it'll give you the option for promotions and doing some cool stuff. This one, I believe, got set up, but maybe before that, or they don't have the promotions tab turned on. And I would go snap as many pictures, if you got them already, great, upload them here. And here's the trick on Instagram. Use hashtags. Every time you post something, use the hashtag, at least of the category that your food's in. So if you're a burger chain, hashtag burgers. and then create or use other hashtags. So Takeout Tuesday is super popular right now. All right, do that. Show Takeout Tuesday on every single Tuesday post, or what you want people to post to get, excuse me, on Takeout Tuesday. Use hashtags. Use hashtags. So Google first, Yelp second, Facebook third, Instagram fourth. I mean, if some of you, if you've not done anything, that's going to all feel overwhelming. But I promise, once you get the ball rolling on this, you're going to be super excited and glad that you did. Now let's start diving into some other things. For instance, you got to make sure, listen, restaurants, I know all of your hours, 99.9% of you have different hours now than you had a month ago before COVID-19 hit. But 98% of you have not updated those hours at all. So think about this. Think about a customer who leaves their house during quarantine to come order food at your establishment, and they checked, what are they gonna do? They're gonna check online to find out your hours. They see that you're open. Oh, good, they're open right now. They drive to your location only to find out that there's a paper sign in the window saying, sorry, new hours are 4:30 to 7:30 only. So think about how that's going to look to a customer. Think how frustrated they're going to be if they come to your location and see that your hours were posted on the door but not updated anywhere online. That's why I started this webinar showing you Google, Yelp, Facebook, and then Instagram. But Google, Yelp, and Facebook, at least you have to update your hours there. Go on there. That's why I walked you through the process on how to go on. Go on there and get your hours current. Now, because of AI and robots, and that's what's kind of running all the platforms right now, your hours might not be updated immediately. They may go under what's called review. But there is that alert that Google and the others have saying like I show here, screenshots, operation hours may be different. But at least you'll be able to stand and prove. You could take a screenshot if you had to of your hours showing, look, we tried to update it, but Google didn't let us, or didn't take them right away. But go do that. Go into Google, Facebook, and Yelp at least and update your hours. Let's see if there's any question on hours. What should is there any other platform that there may be other, I mean, like Apple Maps and some other places that where your hours appear, Waze, for instance, all of those, they tend to take their cues from, I don't want to get into aggregators and all of that kind of stuff, but it's going to be much harder for you to go change those hours. Go change these three and then hope that those map places and driving direction places pick up your hours, unless you have a relationship, a paid relationship or something with an aggregator, or if you're part of a brand like my company SOCi. We work with a lot of brands. We have a platform that goes and updates hours everywhere all at once with a touch of a button. But most local mom and pop restaurants don't have that. So at least go to Google My Business, Yelp, and Facebook to update your hours. And remember, just if you need to ask questions, feel free. Instead of a question and answer period at the end, we're just doing these live as I get through each slide. So update your hours. I can't stress that enough. Next. This is very important for restaurants. When I was in the restaurant business, reviews were not really a thing. I can't even remember if Yelp was around back in 2009 and 2010. Probably, you know what? Yeah, we had a Yelp sticker, so I guess. But all I did was I monitored the reviews. I looked to see what they were. I never really responded to them daily. But I want to tell you real quick why reviews and ratings are so important, and then why responding to them is equally important. So every day on one of the platforms, somebody's leaving a review for a restaurant. I can promise you there are more reviews out there right now for your restaurant than you even know about. And what happens is all the search engines, so Google, Bing, Yahoo, Facebook is a search engine, they all pick up clues on when somebody searches for the word burger near me. all the search engines are looking for clues on which one should we recommend of all the locations that serve burgers. Which are the top 3 that we should give as an option for this customer to go look at, go to? And reviews are one of the #1 ways that the search engines get their clues on who to recommend, which restaurant to recommend. And they do it based on the score of your, so you get 1 through 5 stars, the score of your reviews, what's your overall rating, does the restaurant respond to those reviews, #2, and if so, how quickly do they respond? What's the response time? So that activity that you as a restaurant take in not just reading your reviews, but actually responding to them is super important, because it indicates to Google and all the search engines how reliable you are and when they recommend you. So you got to start. Now is the time. COVID-19 has hit. I know we're working even harder than we've ever worked before, but customers now have more time to leave reviews than they ever have before. And they're all looking for options to go out and get out of the house and go somewhere and eat. They want to go to a place they can trust, a place that they believe in. So reviews are where we turn to as consumers to feel good about a place. So I'm saying here that every single type of review needs to be responded to. And here's why. There's a tendency in the restaurant business for us only to engage with and respond to negative reviews. Somebody leaves us a 1 star, says our service was horrible, or the food was cold, and or it took so long, and we want to defend ourselves and say, now wait a minute, here's what happened. Or we want to say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We want to get into conversation with the negative reviewers, but we're not responding to the positive reviews as much, or people that really didn't leave comments. They just gave us a rating. I call those neutral reviews. That would be like, imagine the scenario in the real world where somebody compliments you on an outfit or your smile, and you ignore them completely. You don't say anything to them. But somebody makes fun of the way you look or complains about an outfit, and you say, oh, I'm so sorry you don't like this. Why don't you like this? Tell me what don't you like about it. Wouldn't that be odd to only respond to the people that have a negative opinion and not the people that have a positive one? It would be weird in real life, and it's really weird online. So you need to be responding as a restaurant, even now, through to positive reviews and negative reviews. And I have a formula that I teach in my digital marketing life called Taffy. And it's an acronym for how to respond to every single type of review you could ever get. So I'm going to teach that here. I know time is winding down already, but I want to teach this because reviews are so important, even in the midst of this COVID-19 crisis and us just trying to serve food as quickly as we can and get it out the door and keep our lights on. Someone in your organization needs to be owning the review process. And when they do, they can use this Taffy formula that I'm going to teach right here to get it done quickly and efficiently. So Taffy stands for this. In every single review response, you want to thank the person for their feedback. You want to acknowledge the experience or their opinion. You want to find common ground that when I say that unites you, that puts you and them kind of in the same realm, that you understand their position, you're empathetic. The next F is you want to follow up. In other words, you want to talk about what actions are going to be taken to remedy this or come to a great conclusion, a satisfactory conclusion. And then lastly, the Y stands for yield. And I put that in there because many times when we respond to a review, especially a negative review, we want to defend ourselves and we want to do a 3-paragraph essay on, why we did it this way and what the customer should have experienced and all this stuff. Let's just keep it to 2 or 3 sentences every time, a good review and a negative review. If you promise to do that, then what you'll find is you'll respond to more reviews because you'll feel like it's not taking as much time as you worried about that it would. So for instance, somebody comes in and they compliment you on your food. Again, I'm using a burger restaurant. Hey, I came in 5 stars, came in, had a great bacon and cheeseburger. The bun was toasted. The lettuce was fresh. Not too much on the condiments. It was perfect. I'll be back. All right. Okay. That's a 5-star review. You want to respond to, man, remember, they complimented your outfit, they complimented your smile. Return the favor, tell them thank you. So here's what Taffy would look like. T, thanks for your recent comments. A, we are acknowledge your experience. We are thrilled you had such a great experience. Find common ground. We agree the burgers are amazing. Follow up. We can't wait to see you again real soon. Yield! Exclamation mark. Boom. 3 sentences. You're in. You're out. That you validated their review, and you told them that they're important and that you appreciate them. All right. Now they feel like $1 million. They'll be back. What do you do with the negative review? Came in, the 1 star, the burger was cold in the middle, the lettuce was brown, they didn't toast my bun like I asked, too much mayonnaise, they left off the mustard, I won't come back. All right, that's a 1 star. Oh my gosh, that breaks our heart in the restaurant industry. Oh no, I've lost a fan for life. All right, here's how we taffy them. Wow, thanks for letting us know about your recent visit. That's T. Here comes the A, acknowledge your experience. We're disappointed we didn't exceed your expectations. That's the A. The F, the first F, the find common ground. We certainly understand your frustration. We want to get it resolved satisfactorily. The next step is very important in a negative review. Would you mind emailing us at whatever you've set up for your negative reviews, email address, so that we can figure out where this went wrong? Thanks in advance for helping us get to the bottom of this. Yield. Now, if you notice what I did there, in my follow-up, you always on a negative review want to get them offline. You don't want to go back and forth in a review channel about, hey, can you dive into, why was your experience so bad? Can you help us get, you don't want to get to the bottom of it in front of everybody, because they may uncover some more things, or they may lob some stuff at you that you don't want to hear, or you don't want other people to hear about, or they may complain about a certain employee and use derogatory terms or names or anything like that. You want to get them offline. And especially in the restaurant business, I used to have this all the time when I had my restaurants. I'd get some real whack jobs, some nut cases. And, I couldn't make these people happy to save my life. I could have given them the keys to the restaurant and had them come in and make the food themselves and take the money out of the cash register, and they would still have given me a negative review and a 1 star. Listen, this is why you take them offline, because if you get a nut case, you don't want them going all off on your reviews channel. And if they do, you can point to your good, positive way you handled it. And now who looks like the crazy person? They do, because you didn't go back and forth with them. They're just ranting against the wind and chasing windmills at that point. So that's why I'm saying get them offline, taffy them, respond to the positive and the negative, and I promise you, your business will benefit, your restaurant will benefit from it. Okay, so earlier I talked about Google. It was my #1 thing that I said you needed to do, get better on your Google listings. Here's the second thing. You need to post Google posts. Google posts, the word you can see, actually I used it 3 times on this slide. The word is free, free, free. These are amazing. You can add, I think, up to 10 Google posts at a time. They can last for anywhere from a week to however long you need it to. And it's almost like a business card that flashes on Google whenever somebody searches for your restaurant. So this is a really neat way that Google's given us in the restaurant space to share events, to share options. You can see here, I have a screenshot, the one that says in you create post. You can even add buttons that will let people order online from your Google post. They can learn more to go to your website. They can hit call now, and if they're on their phone, it'll ring your restaurant. So again, super easy. You would create these in your Google My Business profile that I taught you how to set up in the very first recommendation. Or if you already have one, log in. There's a ton of stuff in Google My Business. In fact, let me drag over. Here's a screen. Let me see if I can show this without messing anything up. Here's a Google My Business for a local restaurant. And these are all the things that you can go enhance right now, which, by the way, I mean, I said earlier, go change your hours. I would add a service area. That'd be one of the things I do, showing where I really, that will show up better for when people search near me. if you add a service area. And we'll talk about links and stuff in a minute, but Google Posts is one of the options. You can see it's right here. You just go here and you can click this button to add a Google Post, and it's super convenient and easy. It literally takes 5 minutes, and I promise you, you'll benefit from it. We'll come back to this in just a second, but Google Posts, any question on Google Posts? Do I have to have a Gmail account? Well, you have to have a Gmail account to set up your Google My Business anyways. So this is through your business.google.com address that I told you about earlier. So I can't stress. I would remember at the beginning of this webinar, I told you, if you've not set up a Google My Business profile, don't hang up on the webinar, but do this while I'm talking. All right. After the webinar is over, go set up a Google post. I promise you, you will not regret running a Google post. They're free. You'll get views. It's going to be amazing. So do that. I'm trying to be sensitive to time here, so I'm going to go to the next slide. Something easy. Again, the word is free. Everything I've shown you so far is free. Nothing has cost any money. This is the same. You can create events on Google My Business. In fact, you do theirs. I'm going to bring it back over. You do it through a post, a Google post. You can create an event. All right. You can also do it on Facebook. That's how I set this thing up right here that we're all on today. It's a free event, and you can see people can respond to it. They can say they're going. They can share it. All this great stuff. You can also do it in Yelp, but Yelp is a little trickier because you have to have what's called a local ambassador that was willing to coordinate all the events. So not every area has Yelp events, but Google My Business and Facebook do for sure. And I would create at least, I said here, at least one a week, because right now with COVID-19, I would have a special every week that I'm highlighting with an event, a special time, a special day of the week that people can come pick up whatever item it is. Get creative. And I say here, you change up the purpose or the goal, or maybe your target audience. Maybe today is what we're doing this on a Thursday, so maybe Throwback Thursday event. Maybe throwback to maybe you had specialty milkshakes or pricing or something at your place. So do a Throwback Thursday event, or maybe you want to do something for grocery store workers or hospital workers or something like that. Create an event specifically for them. Come tip, come donate to our hospital fundraiser, food fundraiser, or something like that. And customers can come get their food, and then also leave a tip that you're going to put money towards feeding some restaurant or some hospital workers. Anyways, there's a ton of things that you can do right now during COVID-19 to create events. And if you get in the rhythm of doing this, once we get out of the quarantine, you'll be able to create. If I had a restaurant still, I would do a grand reopening, and I would create some very big event that we're going to highlight, and we're going to do dollar appetizers, and we're going to do all this sort of stuff, and do a free event on free because it's on Google or Facebook. Go create it, and it's going to get a lot of traction. People are going to like it. People are going to attend it. People come to my events that I create just because somebody else responded that they're going to it, and then all their friends saw it and jumped on it. So the events are a great way to get the word out. And do I have to? So the question here is, can I create this as myself, or do I need to do this from my Facebook page? I would do it. If I started my restaurant, I'd be creating these from my restaurant Facebook page, from my Google My Business listing post, not from your personal. Like, I only created this. I know that's where the confusion came from, your question, so I understand. I created this Save Our Shops Restaurant Edition event personally because I don't have a restaurant anymore. But if I had a restaurant and I was hosting an event, that's where I'd be doing it. All right. Next. Where is it? There it is. Okay, add links and messaging to your Google My Business, Yelp, and Facebook profile. What do I mean by that? First, let's look at Google My Business. Let me bring this over again. The Google My Business info has all these opportunities for you to go add links. Obviously, you got your website that you can add. But if you have a menu online somewhere that you want people to see, you could put it here and it'll show up in your Google listing. When people Google you, they'll be able to click and go find your menu. I know uh, not everybody's using DoorDash or stuff like that, but you can do this right here and at least have people order ahead of time and put a link to your menu, or if you can capture some way to have people create takeout orders, which is probably a good time to be doing that. Reservations seem silly now, but it could be the same link as the order ahead and then show up additionally on your Google My Business listing. So right now, again, this is all about doing stuff to weather the COVID-19 crisis, and then when you come out of it, be better. So go through your Google My Business listing and add these sorts of things. Here's another option. People should be able to message you to your restaurant. Here's a messaging option in your Google My Business listing that you can get on your phone. You can get messages if a customer has a question or wants to know, are you open? And it will go directly to your phone because it'll be an app that you have on your phone. If I had my restaurant, you better believe I'd have this. Even in a crazy time, I would only recommend it if you plan to respond. If you're going to actually review this and monitor it and respond, then add it, make it easier on your customers to find you, to get information, respond back and forth. And both Google My Business and Facebook have this option. The quicker you respond, the higher you get in the search engine algorithm. You get actually ranked for being a good responder, a first responder, if you will. So get better at that. Facebook also has some linking options. You can link to your menu, or if you use OpenTable, and I don't, obviously right now nobody's putting reservations, but there's an OpenTable ability for people to make reservations right on Facebook. So again, when we come out of this crisis, if you take reservations, maybe through this you'll have set up your OpenTable reservation link. Yelp also has a feature that not a lot of restaurants take advantage of, because it's not, you can't book or anything like that on Yelp or order ahead. There is a call, you could call from them, but there's something called Learn More feature, which can be any website. So the Learn More could really be a link to your online ordering. And that's what so I'd go into my Yelp profile. Again, I told you earlier how to do Yelp. I would go into my Yelp profile and I would add the Learn More button. All right. And by the way, yeah, I saw somebody said I joined late and didn't see the first couple slides. That's fine. I'm going to send everybody a copy of the whole webinar, and so you can hear all the questions and stuff that I've been answering as well, and a copy of the slide deck that I'm using, and which also has links in it, by the way, that like you could click and go to this kind of stuff. So, all right. The last but not least, I left this last because social media is what I do the most of in my own life and in my business life and professional life. So here's some things that I'm going to point out. Again, these are all suggestions. You don't have to do them all, but I would highly recommend it. I would start, if I'm not as a restaurant posting 2 to 3 times a day right now, because I'm so busy. Again, if you came late, you missed me sharing my experience in restaurant and how I understand most restaurant owners, especially if you're a mom and pop, you're not part of a chain, you're doing everything. You're cooking the food, you're doing all that stuff. You don't have time to do a lot of stuff through social media. And I understand that and I empathize with you. But now is a new day. We're on the dawn of a new age, and customers are going to expect more engagement, especially as we're socially distanced. Our restaurants need to be able to communicate with us, and yes, focus on the food, but also focus on us as consumers and customers. So the way you're going to do that, and the way you're going to do it cheaply and free, is through social media. And social media is a numbers game. The more you post, the more engagements you get. The more engagements you get, the more customers you get. The more customers you get, the more money you get. The more money you get, the more likely it is you're going to stay open through this COVID-19 crisis. So post at least 2 to 3 times a day on Facebook. And I remember I shared, if you don't have an Instagram page, now's the time to get one. Use video whenever possible. Video is 70 70% of our social media viewing at this point. In other words, every person that's on social media, 7 out of 10 times they're viewing video, not, you know, pictures or words. So try to do video. And here's what the videos should look like right now during the COVID-19 crisis. I need a video of you and your staff showing good social distancing, COVID-19 health standards, if you're using gloves or washing your hands, or how you're sanitizing the facility. We need to see that. Consumers are increasingly nervous, especially, I hate to say this because I was a mom and pop. I was not a chain. I trust chain restaurants right now more than I trust mom and pops, because I've worked in franchising. I've worked for a big brand before, and I know the operational procedures and all that kind of stuff gets passed down from corporate, and that there is oversight and compliance required by the franchisees and by the chain restaurants that the local mom and pops do not have. So we're starting to distrust mom and pops. So to break that distrust, I'm not blaming anybody, but to break it, you need to show us what you're doing. Give us a 1 to 2 minute video walking us through the restaurant, showing us in the kitchen. And it can be a different video every day. Maybe it's one, you know, today's Thursday. I'm saying, hey, this is Chad Jordan from California Fresh. Today is Thursday, April 2nd. And I just want to show you the steps that we've taken to make our facility clean and get it ready for you to come pick up your food today, or for us to deliver, whatever. And it'd be a quick little video, me walking them through, boom, boom, boom. We've done this. It's going to take me what, 2 minutes to post? Take the 2 minutes for your customers right now, or you won't have customers after this. I'd also have a video showing how to pick the food up for quote unquote curbside. And by the way, if you're not doing curbside pickup, you need to rethink whether you want to stay in business or not, because too many mom and pops are expecting us to get out of the car, go pay, pick the food up, and do all that. And I'm telling you, we are getting scared. We don't want to do that as consumers and customers anymore. We don't know how to catch the COVID-19. We don't know how it really spreads. We're super nervous. So you need to figure out a curbside process so we can pick up. And if you're not doing that, you're missing out. And when you do it, show us in a video where we're supposed to go park, maybe have a sign, show us how your staff is going to are you going to just put the food in the trunk? I know a lot of restaurants are going to hands-free curbside pickup, where the consumer and the restaurant don't even touch hands, don't even exchange breath. All right, so show us a video of what your process is. If you're going to show us photos of your staff still working, obviously that's fine. Make sure they're smiling and happy and, you know, glad to be there. And right now, I would be engaging my customers to upload photos of their experience with us, or happy memories like Throwback Thursday, or, you know, times that they've eaten or celebrated, or if you know, catered a wedding, you know, show us, tag us in a photo of your wedding, of your food at your wedding, You have your customers engage with you right now through this process. A lot you can do on social media, and you need to be doing it. Oh, and I'd use the hashtag Save Our Restaurants, because there's going to be more restaurants that are going to be using that more and more, and you want to be part of that community whenever you post Save Our Restaurants. Here's a couple. Now I've ran through the 10 suggestions. Creating a Google profile, a Yelp profile, optimizing your Facebook page, creating an Instagram or optimizing your Instagram handle. There's Google events in there. There was reviews and there were Google posts, social media, adding links and reservations and all that kind of stuff. Now I want to give you some real world money applications quickly on things that you can do. This is kind of a bonus round if you want to do some stuff to try to increase revenue right now. Something you could do is a tip your waiter campaign. I've seen this on GoFundMe. And it's just for all the servers, the chefs, the cooks, whoever is out of work right now. You could reach out to your customers saying, hey, we know times are tough, but we don't want you to come back and our waiters and waitresses have moved on, or you've not been able. So have some creative way to suggest excuse me, creative way to ask for these tips. And if you use GoFundMe, I've given you the highlights and kind of the lowlights here, the pros and the cons. But this is something that I've seen. Something else that I'm starting to see a lot more of are these take-home kits, and I say / family meal. So again, consumers are nervous. Can I trust the food that was prepared in your kitchen? I didn't see you make it. And now I'm going to go home and take it and eat it right away. I don't know that I want to do that. All right, give me another option. Give me an additional option, like we see here, where, okay, you do the food prep, and from what I hear, 15 seconds at 350 degrees will kill any virus, including coronavirus. So give me something that I can take home and bake or cook and make sure that it's nice and safe. Plus, give me something that may be fun for me and my family to do together, like these take-home kits to this pizza place that's here locally. I know some of you are attending this, and you're not. I'm in Santa Barbara County, California, but there's a chain here, a local place here, not a chain, that's doing these take home and make at home pizza kits, and they give you everything you need. And like I said, it's $8 or whatever here. My only challenge here would be, I think $8 might be too cheap for a personal pizza that you're going to make at home. I have a saying right now, because again, look at my #1 point. We want to support you. So my saying is this: in a crisis, raise your prices. I actually borrowed that from somebody in the salon industry, Robert Cromines. But in a crisis, raise your prices. We want you to stay in business. I know some of you are just saying, no, as long as we break even through this, that's all we don't want you just to break even. We need you to have a little bit more so that you can come out of this and hire more people. So if you need to, like, I'd be willing to pay $10, $11 for a take-home kit, for instance. So, and especially if you're doing like DoorDash or delivery or something like that, and they're charging you a premium, charging you a fee, you don't carry the cost of that fee yourself. Pass it along to your customer. We will pay for that right now. We understand that we want to get food. We're tired of cooking it, we're tired of having moms cooking. We want to eat out, but we know we need to pay a little extra for it. So again, I would do some either take-home kits or some family meals. I like the family meals because I'm seeing like this one in the upper right-hand corner. For $40, you get a plate of ravioli to bake. You get a salad. You get some bread. You get, I think, even maybe a little bit of wine or whatever, and it feeds 4 to 6 people. And what a great option for us as a family. And if it's only a husband and wife, boom, they got leftovers for the next day. So come up, be creative with either a take-home kit if you can do it, or if whatever you serve can't be brought home. Let's say you do burgers and you don't want to send raw hamburger meat with people. Okay, so can you create a family meal deal right now? Maybe you didn't have one in the past, but go ahead and create one, bundle it up, and make what I say here, order ahead. What I mean there is try to encourage people so that you're not making a bunch of these family meals and hoping people come get it. Try to encourage that it's only for people that order ahead. And on the take-home kits, I want to stress, make sure there's instructions with them. Be very clear, like it says here, instructions to bake included. It says in the lower right-hand corner. Make sure you do that as well. Another option, I know people are still willing to sell gift certificates. If you want to go the traditional route, that's fine, but I don't want to buy a gift certificate from you now just for you to be able to keep the lights on, and then when you're recovering, I don't want to be able to come in and use it and I've robbed Peter to pay Paul. I need you to make money when this the COVID-19 crisis is over. So I'm suggesting something like a Kohl's Cash style. Again, I don't know if you're not in California, you might not know what Kohl's Cash is, but this is where you would go buy a gift certificate that could then be redeemed at a later date, and maybe even redeemed at a higher value. Maybe it's a 2-for-1, but it's down the road, 3 months from now or something like that, assuming that we're out of this COVID-19, or whenever you can determine the date later. There's a couple other creative ones here where you can hook a buddy up, where you buy a gift certificate for yourself that you can redeem, but you pay full value for it, but then you get one for free that you get to write somebody's name in and give to them. Maybe it's a birthday gift or whatever, and you as the restaurant can send that to the person and hopefully get a new customer out of it. And I like this one that I've seen someone do. It's a buy one, get one, where yeah, you buy a gift certificate for yourself to be redeemed at a later date, but the restaurant will then donate one to a first responder. So you're supporting the restaurant and the restaurant is supporting a first responder. Everybody wins in a scenario like that. Do I have any more? Yeah, one more on this. We're starting to wind down here. I know I ran a little bit over time. I apologize, but last is why not do raffles right now? Maybe you do a traditional raffle where you raffle off, like let's say a big screen TV, and you get a prize package or something. Maybe you get other businesses around you that are in your shopping center or whatever to donate, and you raffle that off, and the money that's raised you either give to your staff, or if you need to keep it just to keep the lights on. I've got another one here called the 50-50. If you've ever been to a ball game, you know how that works. It's just a cash. You tell your customers we're doing this to raise money for our restaurant. Half the proceeds are going to go to the big winner. So you sell them for $10 a ticket or whatever, and the minimum is $500 that somebody could win because you're going to keep selling these. There's another version of this where it's a hospital workers 50-50, where people can feel like they're donating, yes, to your restaurant, but also to a hospital or a hospital worker. Instead of them actually the donating person getting the money actually gets picked and goes to a hospital worker or a first responder. You could do an Easter basket raffle or like a date night raffle. What you see in the bottom right-hand corner is there's different date night themes, and other restaurants you could collaborate with other restaurants that you're friends with and say, hey, let's all raffle this off. I'll give you gift certificates, you give me some, and we'll put some date night contest together and raffle that off. Again, just trying to think. We need to think outside the box right now. What worked in the past might not work in the future. So let's get creative and find new ways to make money through this. I said earlier I'd share with you the local digital marketing checklist. For those of you that might have missed the first part of my talk today, I basically said that there are 3 I's in team that we have to improve upon. And we need to learn to be indispensable in the restaurant industry. Our restaurant has to be indispensable, irresistible, and influential. And since you are open, you are considered an essential business. These are the areas that you need to make sure you're going and doing. So you just pay attention to the left-hand column in each of these. Go do these, and I've covered most of these throughout the course of the webinar today. The thing I didn't cover were Instagram stories and Facebook stories. That's a really neat way to do social media. It lasts for 24 hours. It's cool ways for you to experiment and try to get engagement. So I would investigate that if I were you. And I would go back here. This one is talking about how far should I go back and pay attention to reviews. Go look at all your reviews for the month of March and go reply to them. Remember, reply to every single review you ever get from starting March 1st onward. Don't go back too far unless you got all the time in the world. Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry. There might have been questions here. Hold on. Yeah, no, this is, well, if you want, I mean, the whole slide's they're asking, can they get a copy of the checklist? But I'm going to give you a copy of the whole slide. So this is in there. Yeah, you can have everything. Okay, here we go. So if you were here the whole time, you heard me talk about being indispensable, irresistible, and influential, and why that's important. I said this is a no judgment zone. I wasn't here to accuse or make any restaurant feel bad about their efforts so far, either on social or digital or anything like that, because I was there. I get it. But we have to throw excuses out the window if we want to stay open. We have to get better online right now. Now is the time. Make sure we're updating our info, our hours, especially our services. Oh, you can now go in your Google My Business name and you can edit your name. Let me show that real quick. Hold on. This is very important, and I didn't really have a slide specific for it. But you can go in your restaurant's name here where it says 3 Fat Guys Diner. I could change that to 3 Fat Guys Diner Takeout. And the reason that matters, I could hit apply. I'm not going to. The reason that matters is because then when somebody goes takeout burgers, all right, the word takeout is in my name now, so it's more likely that Google's going to recognize I do that, and it's going to pick me to be the place they recommend. So update your information. The things I just showed. There's money out there, whether it's GoFundMe or raffles or gift certificates or take-home kits or family meals. You're just gonna have to be creative during this season to find ways to make that money, and go experiment, like I said, with stories, Facebook posts 2 to 3 times a day, different videos. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody's looking. Listen, I get a lot of resistance when I teach stuff like this because people are like, oh, I'm not good in front of a camera, or I'm not comfortable. Or, okay, well, get comfortable. Get better at it. There's a saying that I like. It's do your best until you know better. When you know better, do better. All right, that's Maya Angelou. Do your best until you know better. When you know better, do better. You don't have to be perfect on social media. Just start trying and get better at it. We don't. I mean, we know the big chains and the brands. They're going to have polished videos and all this kind of stuff. All right, but that's not real. You're real. So be real to us. Go on social media, get comfortable, experiment, and just know that that we're with you. We as consumers, as customers, we want you to survive. We want you to make it. In fact, I provided some resources here. I'm not going to go click on all of them, but they're going to be available. You can, when you get this slide deck, you can go click on these and you can find out how to set up your Google My Business and Yelp listings, how you can work with Instagram and connect it to your Facebook page. This is amazing. This ultimate guide to social media for restaurants. I didn't create this. I mean, this place called Chow Now did it, but it's amazing. So you want to use that. If you do not have a website right now, or you need an improved website, there's a place that reached out to me on my Facebook community group, and they are offering a free website right now. There is a monthly maintenance fee, but that's because you got to pay like GoDaddy, or somebody has to maintain your website. But they're offering to help you with a really nice website and really cool for restaurants. So if you want to take advantage of that, you can. And then the Santa Maria Sun, for these are for people that are local. If you're national, please do not recall this lady. But if you're in my area, there's a restaurant directory they put together. It's like $50 or something that you could be listed in. It'll showcase you. And then again, on social media, use the hashtag #SaveOurRestaurants. With that, I'm gonna just look through if there's any questions that I missed. My contact info, well, you could go to meetsoci.com and find me there, or I'll put it in the chat window right here, cjordan@meetsoci.com. If you need me, anybody, you can reach me there. And yeah, I'm all for helping restaurants right now. Again, been there, done that. I didn't survive it, and I came out of the other side and still had a pretty good life. Still loving what I'm doing on this side of it. But if you want to hang in there as a restaurant, these are suggestions that I'm giving you, and they're all free. Every single thing I told you today was free, except the stuff on that resources page. There's a little bit of cost there. More than anything, I want to see every restaurant that wants to stick with it and wants to make this dream of theirs work. I want to see you put some of this stuff into practice and see it happen. Okay, as usual with me, I went over time, but hopefully you got a bunch of good information out of this. And feel free again to reach out, cjordan@meetsoci.com. Hang in there. This too shall pass, and I trust that you'll make it through the end and come out of the other side even better than ever before. Thanks so much, everybody.